The front door closed behind me with its familiar soft click. I stood in the marble foyer, the sound of my heels echoing on the stone as I searched my purse for the third time. No car keys. I sighed under my breath, mentally retracing my steps. I'd changed my earrings last minute before heading to Mom's birthday lunch, so the keys were probably on the nightstand. Slipping off my heels, I felt the cool floor through my stockings as I walked toward the staircase. The house felt different, quiet and still in the afternoon light. Usually, I'd call out to Antonio to let him know I was home, but something made me pause. Maybe it was the way the silence felt heavy, or how the shadows upstairs seemed out of place. At the top of the stairs, I turned toward the bedroom. The door was slightly open, and through the gap I saw movement. My heart lifted slightly. Maybe Antonio was home early, and we could finally talk about the distance between us. But as I got closer, I heard voices. Two voices. Antonio, slow and intimate, a tone he hadn't used with me in months. And then another that froze me in place. Vanessa. My twin sister. She doesn't know, does she? Vanessa's voice was soft, almost pitying. I pressed against the wall, trying to keep my breathing steady. Through the narrow opening, I saw them on my bed. Antonio's shirt unbuttoned. Vanessa's hair spread across my pillow. Leslie's always been so naive, Antonio said, tracing her arm. She believed all those late nights at the office. She believed the whole working on our marriage story. Vanessa laughed, sharp and cutting. Just like when we were kids. Remember how easy it was to convince her mom loved her as much as me? My legs gave out, and I slid to the floor. Their words hit with precision. Antonio's tone shifted. When are you going to tell Leslie the truth about your father's will? Our father, Vanessa corrected, her voice sharp. And why would I tell her? She's getting exactly what she deserves. Nothing but the lawyer said. The lawyer said what I paid him to say, Vanessa interrupted. She doesn't need to know about the other half of the inheritance. She doesn't need to know about the letters. The world tilted. What letters? What inheritance? Dad had died 3 years ago, leaving everything to Mom. More so, I thought. You're sure Monica won't say anything? Antonio asked. She's been keeping bigger secrets for 30 years, Vanessa said. She's not starting now. Besides, she hates Leslie as much as I do, maybe more. Why? She's her daughter. Silence stretched before Vanessa spoke again, ending the last certainty I had. No, Antonio, she's not. Before we continue, let us know in the comments which country you're watching from. And if it's your first time here, subscribe for more stories. I don't remember walking to my car. One moment I was on the hallway floor. The next I was in the driver's seat, staring at the house I'd lived in for 5 years. She's not what? Not Monica's daughter. Impossible. I had baby pictures, memories of bedtime stories. 28 years as Leslie Herbert Monica, and Franklin Herbert's daughter, Vanessa's twin. But as much as I tried to reject it, things began to fit the way Mom avoided questions about my early childhood, her private jokes with Vanessa, and the feeling I'd always been on the outside. I drove to the cemetery where Dad was buried. Kneeling by the marble headstone, I whispered, "What did you do, Dad?" My phone buzzed. A text from Antonio. "Where are you? Thought you'd be back by now." Then another. "Monica's looking for you. Something about lunch. Mom's single quotes, birthday lunch. Forgotten." The thought of sitting across from her felt unbearable, but maybe I could get answers. At my childhood home, Monica stood in the kitchen, hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless. "Leslie, there you are," she said, smiling without warmth. I was starting to worry. "Sorry, Mom, I got held up." She studied me. "You look pale. Are you feeling okay?" "Just tired." I sat at the table where I'd once done homework. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you have any baby pictures of me?" "From the hospital." Her hands froze on her coffee cup. "Why would you ask that?" "I was thinking about family history. For Antonio and me, when we have kids." The lie came easily. Her face went pale. "Leslie, why don't you tell me what's going on?" I met her gaze, my heart breaking. "Who is my real mother?" The cup slipped from her hands, shattering on the floor. Coffee spread like a permanent stain. "Please, just tell me the truth," I said. Monica seemed to age instantly. "How did you find out?" "So it's true," she nodded. "Your father was married before, to Isabella. She died when you were 6 months old, and you were..." I was his secretary. We'd been seeing each other for 2 years before Isabella got pregnant. When she died in an accident, your father was devastated. I moved in, and we married when you were 2. Vanessa is my daughter, mine and your father's. Isabella never knew about her. I felt like I was sinking. So we're not twins. Vanessa is 18 months younger. We told everyone you were twins. It was easier than explaining. Easier than admitting you destroyed a marriage and took another woman's child. I said. Monica flinched. It wasn't like that. I loved your father, and I raised you. I loved you. Did you? I asked. Do you resent me? Did you hate me because I reminded you of what happened? Leslie, please. What about Dad's will? What about the inheritance? Monica's expression turned pale. What about it? What did it actually say? Mom, the real truth. Stayed silent for so long I thought she wouldn't answer. Then, in a voice so faint I almost missed it, she said, he left half of everything to you, the house, the savings, the life insurance, half to you, half to Vanessa. But you told me. I told you what I felt I had to, she interrupted, her voice gaining strength, more defensive now. You had Antonio. You had your own life. Vanessa needed my share. She needed stability. She needed to feel secure. I let out a short, bitter laugh that echoed in the small kitchen, and I didn't. You were always strong, Leslie, independent. Vanessa was more fragile. She needed me more. Her silence after that told me enough. I stood, my legs shaky but steady. I need to see the original will. Leslie, I don't, and I need to see my real birth certificate. Her shoulders slumped in defeat. There, in your father's study, in the safe behind the bookshelf. I walked through the house that had never truly been mine, past photos of a family I'd never fully belonged to, toward truths I hadn't wanted to face. Before I reached the study door, Monica called after me. You have to understand, everything I did was because I loved him. I loved your father so much. I turned to her, the woman who'd given me life and taken it away in the same breath. What about Isabella? Did you love her too when you were with her husband? Her face crumpled. She was dying. Your father was lonely. I was there. She was dying of cancer when something in me broke then. Not just my heart, but the part of me that always tried to excuse people's cruelty. That part was gone, replaced with something cold, clear, and furious. Isabella was my mother, I said quietly, my real mother. And you let her die thinking her husband was faithful. You let her die without knowing she had a daughter who would grow up calling her murderer mom. Leslie, that's not fair. Then, you took my inheritance, my identity. You let me believe I was someone else for 28 years. I went into the study, pulling books from the shelf, until I found the safe. The combination was my father's birthday, or at least the man I'd thought was my father. Inside were documents that changed everything. Isabella's death certificate, my birth certificate listing Isabella Maria Santos as my mother, and my father's handwritten will, clearly stating that half of his estate was to go to my daughter Leslie, born to my beloved first wife, Isabella. At the bottom was a bundle of letters, tied with a faded pink ribbon. I pulled out the top one, addressed in my father's careful handwriting. My dearest Leslie, dated just 2 months before he died. In the letter, he wrote that if I was reading it, he was gone, and he hoped Monica had told me the truth. He admitted he should have told me himself, but was afraid of losing me and shattering the family built on lies. He described my mother, Isabella, as the most beautiful, kind, and brave woman he had known, who loved me deeply, holding me for hours and singing Spanish lullabies. She never knew about Monica or Vanessa. He regretted the lies and letting Monica convince him to hide the truth. He told me I had Isabella's heart, strength, and compassion. He hoped I could someday forgive him, and all of them. I read the letter twice before the meaning sank in. He had known Monica would try to hide it. There were 5 more letters, each filled with memories of Isabella, my first 6 months, her promise to watch over me, her final days. The last letter, dated a week before his death, was addressed to Monica, urging her to treat me kindly, honor the will, and give me Isabella's belongings. He warned her not to make me pay for their mistakes. I sat in that study for an hour before leaving. Monica was in the living room, her face streaked with tears. Did you read them? She asked. All of them. Then you know he wanted me to tell you, to give you your mother's things, but you didn't. I couldn't. Every time I saw you, I saw her, the woman who was everything I wasn't. Her voice was raw. I tried to love you, Leslie, but you reminded me daily of what I had done. And so you punished me. You and Vanessa both. Vanessa doesn't know about the letters. She only knows her father loved you differently. As for Antonio, her tone hardened. Antonio came to me 6 months ago. He said he'd found records, that there was more to the story. I told him enough about Isabella, about the will. Thought if he knew you'd inherit money, he'd treat you better, stay with you. You thought he'd love me more if I was rich. I thought he'd take care of you. I didn't want you alone. So you told him, and he told Vanessa. I assume. So, they've been spending time together. The truth was clear now. Antonio had never loved me. He'd married me thinking I was poor, then saw an opportunity when he learned otherwise. And Vanessa, already resentful, now had more reason to hate me. Where are my mother's things? I asked. In the attic, in a trunk with her name on it. We went upstairs, and she opened a cedar trunk marked Isabella Men Santos. Inside were photographs, jewelry, Spanish letters, a saint's medal, a lock of hair, and a baby book filled with Isabella's handwriting. It ended at 6 months, with a final note. My beautiful Leslie, I'm sorry I cannot stay to watch you grow, but I will always be with you. Be strong, be brave. All my love, Mama. I closed the book. I'm taking all of this. Leslie, please, we can work this out. No, we can't. I carried the trunk to my car in 3 trips. Monica followed, pleading, but I ignored her. As I drove away, I felt the pain, but beneath it, a new clarity. I knew who I was, what had been done, and that I would make sure everyone paid for it. I didn't go home that night. I checked into a hotel downtown somewhere Antonio wouldn't book. I spread Isabella's photos across the table, staring at her face so much like mine. In one, she held me as a baby, smiling with pure joy. My phone buzzed constantly. Antonio, Vanessa, Monica, but I ignored them and called the one person I trusted. Leslie. Carmen's voice was warm with concern. Are you okay? You sound strange. Carmen, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Of course, what's wrong? Have you ever noticed anything unusual about my family? The way they treat me? She was silent for a long moment. Leslie, what happened? Just answer the question, please. Honestly, yes. I've always felt something was off between you and them. Your mom and Vanessa talk in a way that feels like they're sharing secrets you're excluded from. And Antonio? What about Antonio? I asked. I never liked him. I know you love him, but he's always acted like you're not good enough, like being with you is some favor. Her words hit hard, not because they were cruel, but because they were true. I'd spent years excusing my family's behavior, blind to what was right in front of me. Double quotes. Carmen, I need your help. Can you find out which law firm handled my father's estate? Leslie, you're scaring me. What's going on? I told her everything, the affair, the lies, the stolen inheritance, Antonio and Vanessa's betrayal. She listened quietly, and when I finished, she sat in silence for a long moment. Jesus Christ, Leslie, I'm so sorry. I need to know your legal options if you can still claim what's yours. I'll make some calls, she said. But are you safe? Where are you staying? I'm fine. Marriott on 5th, room 418. I'm coming over. Carmen, you don't have to. I'm coming. We'll figure this out together. While I waited, I sat on the bed and read more of my father's letters. Each revealed fresh layers of deception and ways Monica had twisted the truth. She'd told me he admired my independence. In reality, he'd worried I'd grown too hard and closed off without a mother's love. She said he'd wanted me to live simply, free from wealth's complications. In truth, he'd hoped I'd use my inheritance to honor Isabella, perhaps by funding scholarships for young mothers with cancer. Every memory, bedtime stories, birthdays now felt poisoned. Everything I thought was love had been built on lies. Carmen arrived with Thai food and wine. We ate pad Thai on the bed while discussing my next move. She'd called my cousin Miguel, an estate lawyer. He says if you can prove the will was altered or hidden, you might have a case, but you'll need evidence. I have the original will and my father's letters. That's a start, but Miguel says you need proof. Monica and Vanessa knew about it and deliberately concealed it. I remembered overhearing Antonio and Vanessa. I can get that. How? I need to record them admitting it. That's dangerous, Leslie. If they've lied this long, who knows what else they'd do. I can't let them get away with this. They stole 3 years of my life. I know, but promise me you'll be careful. I promised, though I was already making plans. I would destroy them the same way they destroyed me, slowly, methodically, with precision. The next morning, I drove to the law office that had handled my father's estate. I'd found the name Monica mentioned, Robert Kellerman, a respected a state lawyer with 30 years experience. His secretary seemed surprised to see me. Double quotes Mrs. Carey. I thought you were scheduled for next week. I need to speak with Mr. Kellerman about my father's estate, Franklin Herbert. Her face paled. She disappeared, returned looking uneasy. Mr. Kellerman will see you now. He was in his 60s, silver-haired with kind eyes that filled with guilt when he saw me. Leslie, I wasn't expecting you. I want to see the original will, the one my father actually wrote. He hesitated. I'm not sure what you mean. I mean the will that left half his estate to me, not the fake one from the reading. Leslie, I think there's been some confusion. There's no confusion. I found the original in my father's safe. I know what he wanted. I also know you helped Monica hide it. He sank into his chair. How did you find out? Does it matter? You helped them steal from me. Monica came to me in tears. She said you were fragile, that you couldn't handle managing that much money. She claimed your father had concerns about your stability, and you just believed her. She had a letter from your father saying he changed his mind, that he wanted everything to go to Monica and Vanessa. A letter you never verified. He paused. You're right, I should have. But Monica was convincing, grieving. I thought I was helping. You were helping her commit theft. Now you can help me get back everything, money, house, all of it. I don't know if that's possible. The estate was settled 3 years ago. The house was sold 6 months ago, Monica said, for medical bills. It felt like a punch. My father's house, Isabella's home, where I'd spent my first months, gone. Where did the money go? Into accounts for Monica and Vanessa, nearly $500,000. I can get exact amounts. And you're going to help me get it back. I want to help, but I need to consider the legal implications. The legal implications of stealing $500,000 are pretty clear. He nodded. What do you want me to do? Document everything, conversations, decisions, evidence ignored. Help me build a case to reclaim my inheritance and put them in prison. Prison is a strong word. They forged documents, stole money, destroyed evidence. That's fraud. Left with his promise to cooperate, but I knew legal justice wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel the same betrayal I'd felt, the same shattering of everything they thought was true. That afternoon, I returned home. Antonio's car was in the driveway. Through the window, I saw him pacing. When I walked in, he rushed to me, looking genuinely concerned. Leslie, thank God. I've been worried sick. Where were you? I needed space. From what? What happened at your mother's lunch? Monica called. She seemed upset. He looked tired, worried. An excellent actor. We had a fight. Family issues, not important. It's important if it's upsetting you. He took my hands. I feel like we've been distant. I want to fix that. Be close again. I'd like that. Good. Why don't you rest? I'll make dinner. Upstairs, I searched for answers. In his nightstand, I found a jewelry store, receipt diamond necklace, purchased 2 weeks ago, not for me. I photographed it. In his closet, hidden behind suits, was an overnight bag with clothes, toiletries, and a hotel key from the riverside, the same place Vanessa had been staying. This wasn't a fling. It was a calculated plan. Leslie, dinner's ready, he called. He'd made my favorite pasta, with candles and wine. Under other circumstances, it might have been romantic. This looks wonderful, I said. I thought we could have a nice evening. I've been thinking about what you said about us being distant. I want to change that. What do you think went wrong? Maybe I've been too focused on work, he said after a pause. I've been neglecting us. I want to make it up to you. Maybe we should take a trip, just the two of us. That Badan breakfast in Napa you love. That sounds nice. When next weekend? I could take Friday off, make it a long weekend. We had dinner, making small talk. And Antonio was unusually charming and attentive, something I hadn't seen from him in months. If I didn't already know the truth, I might have thought he was genuinely trying to save our marriage. After dinner, he suggested watching a movie. On the couch, Antonio put his arm around me, pulling me close. I played the part of the loving wife, leaning against him. Leslie, he said softly, I love you. I know I don't say it enough, but I do. I love you too, I replied, though the words felt empty. I want you to know that no matter what happens, or what anyone says, I'm on your side. Something in his tone made me look at him. What do you mean? Families can be complicated. Sometimes people say or do things that seem hurtful, but I'll always support you. What are you talking about? Nothing specific. I just want you to know I'm here for you. But I could see it in his eyes, guilt, fear, and the awareness that his world was close to collapsing. He knew I was close to finding out the truth and was trying to control the story before it got out of his hands. Antonio, I asked carefully, is there something you need to tell me? No, of course not. Why would you ask that? You seem nervous, like you're hiding something. I'm not hiding anything. I'm worried about you. I decided to test him. I found something yesterday at Monica's house. His body tensed. What kind of something? Letters from my father, about my inheritance. Antonio froze. What letters? He left me money. A lot of money. But Monica never told me. Leslie, I think you're misunderstanding. Am I? Because the letters are clear. He left me half of everything, and Monica hid it. He paused, clearly calculating. Even if that's true, the estate was settled years ago. You can't just what? Claim what's rightfully mine. That's not what I meant. I just meant it might be legally complicated. And how would you know about that unless you already knew? I didn't know anything. You're lying. I stood, pulling away. You know something, Antonio. I can see it in your face. You're being paranoid, or maybe I'm finally seeing clearly. He stood, too, and something dangerous flickered in his eyes. Careful, Leslie. You're talking about things you don't understand. Then explain it to me. You don't understand how the world works. People make difficult decisions. Not everything is about you. The mask slipped. I saw the Antonio who thought I was naive and too weak for the truth. You're right, I said quietly. I don't understand, but I'm learning. I left him standing in the living room and went upstairs. On the bed, I called Carmen. How did it go with the lawyer? She asked. Good. He's going to help me build a case. But I need you to do something else. Help me set up a recording device. Leslie, that sounds dangerous. I can handle Antonio, but I need proof. She hesitated. We'll do it my way, safe and smart. Agreed. But promise me you'll walk away if it gets out of hand. I promise, I said, though I wasn't sure I meant it. The next day, Carmen brought a small recorder. We hid it behind a picture frame in the living room. My job was to get them talking, make them believe I knew less than I did, then lead them into revealing the truth. That evening, I invited Monica and Vanessa for dinner, claiming I wanted to apologize for my behavior at the birthday lunch. Antonio was wary, but I convinced him it was part of mending relationships. They arrived together, Monica nervous, Vanessa annoyed. Over drinks I began. I want to apologize for yesterday. I was upset about something stupid and took it out on you, Mom. Monica looked relieved. It's okay, Leslie. We all have bad days. I've been thinking about what you said about family being complicated. Sometimes we make tough decisions to protect the people we love. Vanessa eyed me. What kind of decisions? Well, when Dad died, you handled all the legal matters. That must have been difficult. It was, Monica said. He kept documents everywhere, accounts I didn't know about. It took months. Did you find everything? I think so. Why? I just wonder if something was missed. Some account or investment. Antonio leaned forward. Why would you think that? Because Dad worked hard and was careful with money. It seems like he'd have left more. He left plenty, Vanessa snapped. I meant for all of us as a family. Monica's voice was careful. Your father left what he wanted to leave, did he? I found some papers yesterday, letters. The room went silent. Monica's hands trembled. Antonio's jaw tightened. What letters? Vanessa asked. Letters about my inheritance. Leslie, not this again. Antonio said, you're being paranoid. Am I? They clearly say he wanted to leave me half of everything. That's impossible, Monica said, her voice shaking. Vanessa stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. Dad left everything to Mom. Were we at a will reading or a performance? I asked. What are you accusing us of? Antonio's tone was sharp. I'm just saying there may be more to the story. There isn't, Monica insisted. Your father wanted me to handle everything. Am I even part of this family? Sometimes it feels like I'm missing something. Monica and Vanessa exchanged a look. They were scared people make mistakes. You're imagining things, Monica said. Not enough to tell me the truth, I replied. What truth? Antonio asked. The truth about who I am. The truth about what's mine. The truth you've been hiding. Vanessa gave a bitter laugh. You've always been jealous of Mom and me. You think you deserved more. Maybe I did. You deserved exactly what you got. Nothing, Vanessa. Monica warned. No, Mom, I'm done pretending. Dad only felt sorry for you. He made promises in those letters he never meant to keep. How do you know that? I asked. Because you were never really his daughter. The words hit like a bomb. Monica went pale. Antonio looked panicked. What did you just say? I asked quietly. Nothing. I didn't say anything. You said I was never really his daughter. What did you mean? I meant you were always distant with him. No, you meant something else. I looked at Monica. Tell me what she meant. Monica's face crumbled. You're not my biological daughter, but you are your father's. He was married before to Isabella. She was your mother, as you found out yesterday. Antonio and Vanessa were stunned. She admitted it. I felt only satisfaction. Now it was on tape. So, Isabella was my real mother. Yes. And you were having an affair with my father while he was married to her. Yes. And when she died, you moved in and took me. It wasn't like that. And you lied to me for 28 years and kept the inheritance he left me. It was complicated. No, it was theft. Antonio stood. That's enough. You're upset, not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than ever. I know about the affair, the lies, the stolen money, and about you and Vanessa. Antonio went pale. What about me and Vanessa? I know you've been sleeping with her. I know you've planned this together. You're being paranoid. Then explain the hotel receipts, the jewelry, and why you were in our bedroom yesterday calling me naive. Vanessa looked panicked. Antonio, what is she talking about? Leslie, I think you need help. You're having some kind of breakdown. The only thing breaking down here is your lies. For the first time in years, I stood feeling powerful. I want you all to know I've recorded this entire conversation. I have the original will, letters, receipts, and testimony from the lawyer who helped you forge documents. Leslie, you can't, Monica began. I can, and I will. I'm going to bring you down the same way you tried to destroy me. I retrieved the hidden recorder and held it up. Every word, every confession, every admission of guilt. Monica began sobbing, her body shaking. Leslie, please, I raised you. I loved you. That has to count for something. You raised me on lies. You loved me like someone loves a stolen diamond, always afraid someone would find out it wasn't really yours. What do you want? Vanessa asked. Money. We can give you money. I don't want your money. I want justice. I want you to feel exactly what you made me feel. I want you to lose everything you believed about your lives. Leslie, please, Antonio said. We can work this out. No, there's no fixing this. Only consequences. I looked at each of them. Monica, who stole my identity. Vanessa, who stole my inheritance. Antonio, who stole my trust and love. You have 24 hours to think about what you've done. After that, I'm going to the police, the district attorney, anyone who will listen. I'll make sure everyone knows what you are. I walked to the door, then turned. And Antonio, I want you out of my house tonight. If you're still here, in the morning, I'm calling the police. Leslie, this is my house too. Actually, it's not. It's in my name. Remember, my credit was better when we bought it. I left them in the living room, shaken, panicked, and went upstairs to pack. I was heading to a hotel for the night, but tomorrow I'd start reclaiming my life. You never meant for Isabella to die. Of course not. When I learned what Antonio had done, I wanted to go to the police. But he said no one would believe me. He warned they'd think I was involved, that we'd both end up in prison. And then, what would happen to you and Vanessa? He asked. So you stayed silent? Yes, I stayed silent, and carried the guilt for 30 years. 3 decades knowing I was raising the child of a murdered woman. 30 years trying to atone by being a good mother to you. You weren't a good mother. You were a guilty woman trying to ease your conscience. Monica's sobs deepened. You're right, I failed you in every way. But Leslie, please, I'm begging you, don't let this destroy you. Don't let our sins poison your life. Thought my life was already poisoned. I'm just cleaning it up. I left Monica in that visiting room. I never saw her again. She died in prison a few months later from a heart attack, likely triggered by the stress of the trial. I didn't attend her funeral. Thought Vanessa was easier to face. I'd never expected much from her. She was in another facility, and when I visited, she was angry, not remorseful. This is all your fault, she said as soon as she saw me. You couldn't leave well enough alone. I could say the same to you. What was I supposed to do? Let you take half of everything? Ruin our family? I was part of your family too, Vanessa. I was your sister. You were never my sister. You were just the reminder that Mom chose another woman's child over her own. I was a baby. I didn't choose this. No, but you benefited. You were the good daughter, the one people pitied. Do you know what it's like to compete with a dead woman for your father's love? I felt a surprising pang of pity. I know what it's like to compete with a living one. Not the same. You never saw Mom look at you and see someone else. You never heard Dad say how much you looked like your mother. That's because I didn't know Isabella was my mother. And whose fault is that? You could have asked questions, but you just accepted what we told you. I trusted you. I trusted all of you. And that was your mistake. Trust is for fools, Leslie. Love is for fools. The only thing that matters is protecting yourself. Is that what you were doing when you slept with my husband? Protecting yourself? Vanessa's expression hardened. Antonio came to me. He'd figured out the inheritance and offered to help me keep it. One thing led to another. How long? What? How long were you sleeping with him? Does it matter? It matters to me. Antonio doesn't love anyone but himself. You must have known. I thought I knew a lot of things. Now you know better. Everyone looks out for themselves. Everyone betrays if the price is right. I looked at this woman who shared my father's blood, who'd called me sister for 28 years. Not everyone. Then why are you pressing charges instead of forgiving your family? Because you're not my family. You never were. I left Vanessa's cell relieved. Whatever bond we'd had was gone. Antonio was the hardest to face, not because I still loved him, but because I had loved him most. In a minimum security prison, he looked almost relieved to see me. Leslie, he said, I hoped you'd come. Why? I wanted to explain. I wanted you to understand why I did it. I understand. You did it for money. It's not that simple. Then, explain. When I married you, I thought I'd have a simple life, a quiet wife, a normal family. But then I noticed things, how Monica treated you differently than Vanessa, how you knew less about your own history than I did. So I got curious. I asked questions, researched, and found out about Isabella. I found out about the money, and decided to steal it. I decided to claim it. I was supporting USA. I thought, if you inherited, it would be our money. So why not work with Monica and Vanessa to access it? Because it wasn't yours. It was mine. You'd have given it to me anyway. You give me everything. I gave you everything because I loved you, because I trusted you, because I thought you loved me. I did. I do. No, you love having someone who never questions you, who's grateful for scraps of affection. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you asked about my dreams, or what I wanted from life? We talked, you talked, I listened. I went along with your plans because you seemed happy, and I was happy because I didn't know better. I thought that was love. I know I hurt you, but we can fix this. No, we can't. There's no coming back from this betrayal. You'd throw away 5 years of marriage. I'm not throwing it away. Did when you lied, stole, and cheated. Please, don't end us like this. We ended a long time ago, Antonio. I'm just admitting it now. The trial lasted 3 months. Monica died before it ended, but Antonio and Vanessa were convicted. Antonio got 5 years for fraud and conspiracy. Vanessa, 7 years, plus perjury. The civil case moved quickly. With their convictions, it was easy to prove my inheritance had been stolen. The court ordered full restitution plus interest, $400,000, more than my father had originally left me, enough to start over. The murder investigation brought the greatest justice. Isabella's exhumation revealed the brakes on her car had been cut. My father had killed her to stop her from leaving with their daughter. Monica had helped cover it up. I held a memorial at the Catholic church where Isabella had married. Her sister Rosa came from Mexico. She looked so much like Isabella, it took my breath away. She'd be so proud of you, Rosa said. You fought for the truth. I should have fought sooner. You were taught not to ask questions, but you found your strength. Rosa stayed a week, telling me stories about Isabella, teacher before marriage, a woman who dreamed of travel, who wanted a fearless daughter. I bought a small house in Isabella's old neighborhood and began working at a nonprofit helping people, men and women, escape abusive relationships. I wrote about Isabella, the lies I'd lived, and the truths I'd uncovered. The book became a bestseller, not for scandal, but for honesty. 5 years later, I stood at Isabella's grave. I'd replaced her headstone, Isabella Santos Herbert, beloved mother, brave woman, forever remembered. I'm getting married, I told her. Miguel, Carmen's cousin, had stood by me through everything. He knew my story, my past, and loved me for all of it. I left white roses, her favorite aunt whispered. I wish you could see the woman I've become. but maybe she could. As I walked away, the sun broke through the clouds. My phone buzzed. Miguel, how are you feeling? Me, amor, I smiled. Happy, truly, deeply happy. Not because of the wedding or the justice, but because I knew who I was. I'd turned pain into purpose. The woman I'd become was stronger than I ever imagined. A fighter, a survivor, a force for change. Isabella had died for the truth. I lived to share it. And in that truth, I found something priceless. I found myself,